Hi guys, it's me, Val Toxic Free. Welcome, happy Sunday. Today I'm going to do a video on enabling. I got a question asked by Doug on my Chris Watts video. Hey Doug. And he asked a question about enablers, but I'm going to put it later on in the video when I actually come to answering that question. But I want to talk about what actually is an enabler first, because some people might not know what it means. I've written some notes, as I do, because I can and I will. A person that encourages or enables negative or self-destructive behaviour in another person. Someone who supports another's bad or dangerous habits by staying quiet or staying silent. These behaviours could be drinking, drugs, physical, emotional, and as we now know, narcissist abuse. Enablers, again, people who haven't been through narcissist abuse yet. We were the same. Before we went through narcissist abuse, we didn't know it existed. We didn't believe anything like that could happen. We actually always thought that we could tell who bad people were. We could always tell, oh, if someone's cheating on me, I'd know. And we get people that come to us, don't we? And it annoys us because they always say things like, I would never let anyone cheat on me. I would never let anyone lie. I'd know. And that drives us crazy, that they wouldn't know. These type of the people who will enable narcissists because they don't know it exists. So that's one type of enabler, is people like we were before narcissist abuse. People that don't understand what's going on, people that believe the illusion, they believe the fake reality, they believe people, they believe everything that people say. And I was once one of those people, but now we know different. They're the type that are enablers. Toxic enablers, I've got written here. These again, people that are just drawn into the drama, people who are toxic, people who are narcissists themselves. People that just won't actually ask questions, believe all the gossip, believe everything that's said to them. They're just toxic and they just like the drama and they like to stir the pot. If there's any, they like to be part of a gang, don't they? A lot of people as well that are enablers tend to stand alongside or stand behind the narcissist. Why? Because they're scared to stand in front. They're scared to be the target. They don't want to be the target because they can see what the target is actually going through. And they don't want to be that side of it. They don't want to have that happen to them. So a lot of people, rather than be the target, rather be behind the bully rather than in front. It's easier, it's safer. And a lot of people are scared. And it's the scared people, the people that see the abuse, the people that let it go. They're the kind of people that are enablers. Codependents, again, enablers. They don't mean to be. You get it in families, you'll get codependent parents of children, you'll get codependent partners. Codependent partners tend to be the type that don't feel that they're worthy anything. I know that every relationship I kind of went into from the previous one, you didn't feel worthy, you didn't feel that you were worthy of anything because the previous relationship had probably put you down, had probably treated you bad and probably told you you were nobody. So when you go into your next relationship, if you do happen to come across a narcissist and get involved in a narcissist, you let them continue because you don't think that you're worth anything and you think that, well, I need to stay with this person because nobody's going to want me. And also that is what the narcissist will tell you. Nobody else will want you. So you tend to stay where you are. And also if you've got children, you tend to, I should stop saying tend to. I'll try not to say that word. I used to say basically a lot, now it's I tend to. But you will protect. You're too scared to really, again, stand up for yourself. So if you have children, you will more likely tell them to stay away from daddy when he's in a bad mood. You'll walk on eggshells. Rather than tell the abuser not to treat your child like that because you know you're scared, again, stand alongside, stand behind. That's an enabler. Someone who's codependent, who doesn't believe that they're worthy anything. I'm going to tell a quick story. My sister, she lacks empathy, and I've always had problems with my sister. We're very different people. And my sister is 50-something, and she lives with my mum. Now, my mum's obviously 83. My mum is scared of my sister. My mum wants to keep the peace. My mum is an enabler, and she always has been. I love her to bits. She loves me, but I know that she's scared of my sister. She's one that stands alongside or stands behind. Again, people with empathy will fix. And I think she knows that I'm a strong person. She knows I've been through a lot. She knows I'm a fighter. And she knows that I'll always bounce back. So my mum, enables my sister to be very abusive to me in the past. I haven't spoke to my sister now for 2 years because I've gone no contact which is very difficult when you want to go around seeing mum and your sister's there. So I need to go around when she's not, or meet my mum in a place where my sister's not around, which is terrible, but hey, these things are best done. My mum knows that if my sister ever hurts me and my mum stands alongside her, which she does, I'll walk out, or I used to walk out, go home, spend days on end on my own. But because we're fixers, she knows that I will always go back and always fix the situation and always say, you know, sorry, even if it wasn't my fault, because I don't want to fall out with people. So there's a loop there. So my mum knew how it goes. Sister hurts me, I walk away, I come back, it continues. So that's the story of me. The enabling with my mum and my sister is that my mum knows that I'll come back, and my mum is safer if she lets me be the scapegoat and protects my sister, because it's safer that way. And my mum just wants an easy life, and I can understand that now. I never used to understand that in the past. I used to get upset, I used to get jealous, I used to get angry. I would always wonder why she put my sister first and not me. But obviously my mum's old now, and I know that she might not be with us for a very long time. So if it just means that me being the scapegoat and me staying away and protecting my mum by not causing any arguments between me and my sister and putting my mum in the middle, I'll do that. I'll do that because I don't want my mum to suffer anymore. But she does enable my sister. But I know that now, and I think education is power. And once you can reframe it in your head and see everything in a positive way and think, do you know what, so what, if I'm a scapegoat and if my mum's happy, that's how it's going to be. And that's my little story. Fly monkeys, basically they're also enablers. Fly monkeys are all of the above. They're toxic people, they're narcissists, they're people that don't know, they're people that have never been through narcissist abuse, they're codependents, they're everybody, you name it. Fly monkeys will be any type of them people that I've just mentioned. Fly monkeys are fly monkeys to basically help the narcissist. The narcissist has all these little people helping them because they've got a mask, they've got a face to protect. They don't want to come across, they don't want to dirty their hands. So they've got this charming persona, they've created this mask. They don't want to ruin it by saying names, they don't want to ruin it by pointing fingers and being abusive. They'll get other people to do it. They'll whisper in people's ears, they'll tell things, they'll do certain things for the fly monkeys to go around and do the work for them so that they don't get their hands dirty. And then they can say, oh no, I have nothing to do with it, it wasn't me, it was her, it wasn't me, it was her. So they'll basically throw their enablers under the bus as well. They are the king, they're the kingpin, they'll just, it's sad. Do enablers know they're enablers? Some of them, again, some of them do, some of them don't, some of them don't care, some of them like to bully, some like to stand behind the bully. Just narcissists depend on weak-willed people. They depend on people who might be lacking education, lacking self-awareness, they're gullible, they're codependent. It goes on, it goes on. I'm hoping that that's actually helped to understand what people who enable narcissists are. They come from many walks of life, but in the end, they're probably, I think, the main thing, if they know about the narcissist, it's down to being scared. It's down to not having the strength of character to stand up against the narcissist, to say, no, don't do this, I don't like it. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't believe you. Show me proof. Tell me, how do you know this gossip? Where did you get this information from? If we all asked a bit more questions and we all actually asked before we went off gossiping and listening to the narcissist and then going on to the person that the narcissist told us about and trolling them or whatever like that, I think we just all need to ask more questions. So now I'm going to go on to the actual question that Doug asked. This is what I'm going to literally read the question out now and put it up here, but because the only way that I can actually answer Doug's question, which is, I'm going to read it now. Hi Val, I have a personal request. Could you maybe do a video on narcissist enablers? Nothing to do with Chris Watt's case. I'm talking about the wife of a narc who enables him with his dirty deeds. Why does she not realise who he is? And how must he be treating her behind closed doors? Now, when we're talking about her or somebody else, I can't answer that because I don't know how the situation affects every single person individually. I'm actually going to explain why I, myself as a victim of narcissist abuse, actually let my abuser get away with it, and I'm going to explain it from my side because that's the only way I can explain that answer, because again everybody's answer would be different depending on who you asked. My answer is not one size fits all. Now, the last enabler is the victim, which I'm going to call me. I'm not saying, you know, I'm a victim. I don't like saying victims. Let's call us survivors. Let's call us people that have experienced narcissism. I've looked back into what happened with me in Stumpy, my ex, because it's been so far away now. It's 3 years ago that I actually sometimes forget what actually happened, which is good, because that's what does happen. We do forget the abuse. We do move on. It's not there forefront. We sometimes have to delve for information. And I've realised that I actually enabled Stumpy to do what he did. I've written something here. The future faking made me enable him. The offer of a fake future. So I took the blame. I accepted the abuse because I thought I was the problem, like I said earlier. I got told it was me, so I didn't think the grass was greener anywhere else. I got blamed by the narc because I let him do it. I had no boundaries. So what you accept will continue. If you don't put boundaries up, if you don't think that you're worth it and think that you deserve a hell of a lot more, you won't get what you deserve. I thought the future I was promised was worth more than the present. So I thought if I held on to the abuse and held on to what I was going through at the time and just held on. See, I was seeing somebody who was separated, and I didn't want to start a relationship until the marriage was over and he was divorced. But he dangled that divorce in my face, and he dangled that carrot. So I was going through hell at the moment, but I kept thinking that if I just held on and enabled him to continue what he was doing to me, then the future would be bright, and I'd get to that future that he promised me. We'd get married on a Bermuda beach like he promised me. We'd move into a new house like he promised me. We'd be happy ever after like he promised me. He'd treat me like a princess like he promised me. But they were promises, and whilst I was waiting for something to happen that was non-existent, I was going through hell, enabling him to abuse me and hurt me and break my heart and take my worth away until I lost about 2 stone. He had his cake as well as eating it. He played with me for months and months, and I let him. As the payout, the end result, the fake future, was worth it. Until you realise that you don't want all this pain, you don't want all this manipulation, you don't want to go through what you're going through, and you realise that your health is suffering so much for something that hasn't actually happened yet. That's when you get the realisation. The fact that I was being put second to a woman that he would call crazy, that he would call undesirable and dirty and overweight, and every time he would say something really, really, really nasty and really offensive about her and how disgusting and horrible she was, and then not put me first, what it did was make me feel worse of a person than her. It made me feel further down in the pecking order than her, that I must have been so much worse than this horrible ex-wife that he was with. He had control over me there. And that's when I realised I was worth more. And I was enabling him to I enabled him to make me feel that I was nothing. So when you get to the balance where your health and your sanity and your worth and everything is heavier than what the future can hold, that's when you've got to say no. That's when my enabling stopped. And I had to let go of that future that wasn't here, wasn't present, and I had to realise that this future faking was never going to happen. But what was going on with me right now was happening. And the pain he was putting me through was slowly killing me. And I think you can only get to the depths of despair before you realise that that future that was a lie is never going to be, but what you're going through now is worth more. So that's when I decided that was enough. but I enabled. So we are the enablers, as well as trolls, as well as flying monkeys, as well as codependents, as well as toxic people. Because of their manipulation, because of their skill that they've been doing for years and years and years, because they've been a narcissist from a child, it's not new to them, but it was new to us. So we didn't know what was going on, so we enabled them to get away with it. But now we know what's going on. Now we shouldn't enable anybody to get away with any kind of abuse. So we need to just put a stop to it. And we need to support people. We need to ask for proof. We need to stop with the gossip. We need to not believe everybody. We need to keep our eyes out and our ears peeled. That's not right, is it? Our eyes peeled. Not our ears peeled. Oh dear, that valism. But we just need to be more aware and not let these people get away with what they're getting away with. I hope that makes sense. And Doug, I hope that's helped. That enablers are just scared people, bad people, codependents, and people that may be emotionally and financially tied to somebody and don't think they're worth any more. We all have to go through a certain amount of hell before we actually get ourselves out of it. You can't go from A to Z, if that makes sense. You've got to go through the alphabet. You have to be hurt, and I'm afraid this is how it works. You have to hit rock bottom before you've got nowhere to go, before you get yourself back up again. But you only need to do that once, and then you learn. It's when you make that mistake of hitting rock bottom too many times with too many people and you haven't gained your knowledge. Education and knowledge about narcissism, and knowing that they are telling us who we are when we should know who we are. I hope that made sense. Guys, take care.